don't know, is he participating under AB 2449? Anders is, okay. So, we'll need to dispense with that first, I believe. Which means that we are going to need a motion from the board, from the floor here to, allow others to participate by AB 2449, and then a roll call vote approval, I believe.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Vice Chair Medina, a second by Director Hindi. I think we'll just need a roll call vote. And then we can allow Mayor Conlon to participate.
San Mateo County,
Yes.
San Mateo County,
Yes.
Atherton,
Yes.
Belmont. Brisbane. Burlingame. Yes. Colma.
Yes.
Daly City. East Palo Alto,
Should I be doing it here and yes, or just a yes?
just a yes.
Just a yes.
Foster City.
Yeah.
Half Moon Bay,
Yeah.
Hillsborough. Los Baños. Menlo Park. Yes. Millbrae,
Yes, thank you, everybody.
Pacifica,
Aye.
Portola Valley,
Yes.
Redwood City,
Yes.
San Bruno,
Yeah.
San Carlos,
Yes.
San Mateo,
Yes.
South San Francisco, Woodside. And then circling back to Los Baños.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Almost here for this thing.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Mayor, you may participate now.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, great. We'll go ahead and dispense with the roll call, please.
San Mateo County, San Mateo County,
Ray Mueller here.
Atherton,
Stacy Miles Holland here.
Belmont,
Tom McKeon, Nolan.
Brisbane, Burlingame,
Colton, Burlingame.
Colma,
President involved.
Daly City,
Radha, thank you.
East Palo Alto,
Carlos Romero.
Foster City,
Sam Hindy, President.
Half Moon Bay,
Harvey Warback.
Hillsborough, Los Baños,
Paul Giannis here.
Menlo Park, Millbrae,
Anders phone here.
Pacifica,
Aggregate.
Portola Valley,
Jeff out.
Redwood City,
Kaya Aiken.
San Bruno,
Good morning, Eugene.
San Carlos,
You can hear?
San Mateo,
Lorraine.
South San Francisco. Inside. We have a quorum.
This is a time when members of the public may comment on items that are not on the agenda. Do we have any public comment? Brianna?
No public comment online or in the room.
Okay, we'll then go ahead and close public comment. I need an action to set the agenda and to approve the consent agenda items. We have progress of our business tonight on consent so that we can deal with more of the ceremonial nature of our meeting tonight. With people leaving as they term out or move off. But I will ask if any one would like something pulled off of the consent calendar for further discussion, or any members of the public want something pulled off consent. Okay, if we have no one interested in pulling something off, then we'll go ahead and we'll just, I'll look for a motion.
So moved.
Wait, I'm sorry, I got Director Lorraine and Director Fung. Motion by Lorraine, second by Fung. Maybe we have a roll call vote, please.
San Mateo County,
Yes.
San Mateo County,
Yes.
Atherton,
Yes.
Belmont,
Yes.
Brisbane, Burlingame,
Yes.
Colma,
Yes.
Daly City,
Yes.
East Palo Alto,
Yes.
Foster City,
Yeah.
Half Moon Bay,
Yes.
Hillsborough, Los Baños,
Yes.
Menlo Park,
Yes.
Millbrae,
Aye.
Pacifica,
Aye.
Portola Valley,
Yes.
Redwood City,
Yes.
San Bruno,
Yes.
San Carlos,
Yes.
San Mateo,
Yes.
South San Francisco, Woodside, motion passes.
Great, okay. Thank you all. Chair report, so my report is brief. Yesterday at, the, Resource Management and Climate Protection Committee, we were there with me. Our staff from Peninsula Clean Energy. Medicaid, right? Medicaid, and, so did Mark. And Mark Hirschman. And they made a presentation on our sort of load and what we're doing and how we're carrying, what our composition of our portfolio looks like. And it was really well received by everyone. And when Kaya was there, because we're all three on that committee. So it was very well received. And interestingly, before that, PG&E went and they gave a very comprehensive discussion about Diablo Canyon. And kind of everything from, how the reactors work to the safety protocols and the whole facility. There was sort of a, aerial tour of it. And interestingly, they invited us to, us and our Resource Management and Protection Committee and Peninsula Clean Energy to come down and tour the facility in the spring, if anyone's interested, which is actually incredibly fascinating. So it would probably be worth it. And then again, we followed on after it, and the meeting was very collaborative and really nice. They were very interested to hear what PCE was working on and doing, as were we with them. So that's really the one report out I'll make. And we'll look forward to making more with Sean. You guys gonna set something up?
Sounds great.
That's it. I'll turn it over to Sean.
All right. Thank you so much. All right, so I have just a couple of things to update you on, and I'll invite Shalini if you want to chime in on anything here. Do you want to present this or shall I? Okay. Really quickly, I just wanted to let you all know, originally, you might recall that we had to do the whole closeout of the 5-year strategic plan tonight. And then in conversation with Donna and others, it just made more sense for us to push it spring so that it aligns better with the adoption of the full plan for the next 2026 to 2030. So just to let you know, in case you were expecting that, sorry, we decided to make a move just so it just sort of flowed more logistically better. But as you know, we are well underway under Shalini's leadership and Yana Lande and Lapiana. You all at our board retreat in October, we had a great discussion about some general policy, high-level policy direction. We will be bringing that back to the board in January, hopefully for adoption of that piece of it. And then there will be phase 2 and 3 that happen through the first 6 to 7 months of 2025, with the idea that the full new strategic plan will be brought to the board sometime in late summer 25. And there is an ad hoc strategic plan working group. I think, when is that our next meeting is December 9th. And so that'll be to kind of review the draft of the phase 1 policy answers, which will then be brought, as I said, in January. So we hope that ad hoc committee will stay together and stay in place through 2025 and completion. Did I miss anything? No? Okay. Any questions? All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Well, thank you, directors, I should say. Sorry. CEO report, programs update. Okay. There are 4 things to report out of our programs team. Very exciting to say that our GovPV Round 1 effort, which includes 12 municipal sites around the county and also in Los Banos, look to be complete by the end of this year. And so the next trick for us will be to make sure that the interconnections happen shortly thereafter. Some are moving apace and others have been more challenging, depending on what PG&E needs to do for upgrades. So that we are making good progress on our end of it. I will also report that round 2 is fully underway with many projects already having gotten started and anticipate having those done by the end of next year. For the residential solar and battery storage program, we have launched our new program. This will be supported by SGIP. And I am so sorry that I cannot remember what that stands for. That's the acronym. Self-generation is, thank you. That's the state program that Yana had presented on a couple of months ago. We are in line for significant funding for that program. And essentially it allows low-income customers to put both solar and battery on their rooftop. So we've got 400 low-income customers from our service territory that are pre-qualified and ready to go when that funding is released by the PUC. We're hoping sometime in the first 6 months of 2025, but stay tuned on that. That's a CPUC issue. Our EV Ready program, Philip and team have been working hard, as you all know. We have now crossed over into 1,200 charge ports installed and operational. You might remember that a couple of years ago through COVID, you know, it was just really having trouble getting off the ground and scaling. I think when I joined, there was maybe 200 or so, and we just really ramped up in the last couple of years. So tip of the hat on that. And then for you all to know, the member agency grants. So 7 member agencies have executed agreements already. 5 more are in process. That means we have yet to hear from. So Rafael and team will be following up with you. We are hoping to have all proposals through the door by the end of our fiscal year, because we really want to start getting that money out. This is from the surplus fund effort, as you might remember. So good progress on the programs front. For account services, just one quick announcement is to let you know that we are making good on our in-house customer care center that this board approved last year. Leslie has been working hard with Stephanie Elmore, who's the call center manager. We have 3 customer service reps that have been hired. They're in intensive training right now, and we are going live on December 10th. So feel free to call in and say hi. Maybe wait till the 18th. So, or on the 17th. So at the December board meeting, Rafael, Leslie, and the team will be giving a full kind of report out of how all of that knits together to roll out our turnkey and electrification services in 25. So just want to let you know that great progress has been made there. Mark is going to do our quick ledge update and then we'll finish up.
Evening directors, that slide looked a lot bigger on my desktop, so. Small print, just want to give a brief update on where the election stands. At the state level, we note that the Democrats appear to be seeing a slight erosion in their support in the state, but they will continue to keep a 2/3 supermajority in both the state Senate and the state Assembly. And the legislature returns on December 2nd, as each time votes are administered to the new members, and they are committed to drop a bill in, and then they likely recess until January, although there is a meeting of the special session at the same time, and it remains to be seen what on that, but that was called by the governor to address changes that are taking place nationally. We've been paying attention to the races that affect Peninsula Clean Energy service area. And so first the federal race there, it appears that 2 are decided. Kevin Mullen will prevail in his district, and Sam Ricardo will take the seat currently held by Anna Eshoo, who is leaving Congress. So he will represent both hillside areas, Portola Valley applicant in our territory. But one of the races, I think maybe 2 or 3 that are still remaining to be called nationally is the representative for the Los Banos area. It covers, I believe it's 5 different counties, parts of 5 different counties. And I checked at 5 o'clock this evening, and some new votes came in as I was watching the screen. And now it is a 194 vote difference between the 2 candidates, the incumbent Scott Duarte and Assembly member Ray. But that's still too close to be called. There are about at least 21,000 ballots still left to be counted. But that's for the entirety of the counties that are involved, so there's no telling how many of those votes remain for the congressional district areas. The state race that was closest in our territory was Elsa Luria, who also is representing the finalists. She narrowly won 2 years ago, but her margin is greater at this time, and all the one new race played in building in the city Tacoma corridor is going to be Catherine Stefani, who's coming from the Board of Supervisors in San Francisco, take that seat. And just the incumbents are in the bowl. Ana Caballero is a 4-year term, so she was not up for election this year. She'll retain her seat, which about 2 years. In the county, we had 2 supervisorial races that you're familiar with, and state proposition board finding on get past the convincing. Move to the next slide. So locally, congratulations to directors re-elected. Listed there, and we do have 1 race, 2 votes to call. Brisbane is having a special council meeting this evening, and so but Colleen Mackin is right now led by 6 votes per race to return for a seat. And with that, I'll be happy to entertain any vote. And San Mateo has 800 ballots, so 700 are vote by mail that we received after the close of the election, and about 100 additional ballots. Do you take any questions?
Questions? Okay, I'll wrap here. We had 1 new staffer start in the last couple of weeks. Kirsten Grun, who's our new Associate Director of Marketing. And 2 posted positions that we are in the middle of interviews for: Legislative Manager and a Power Resources Specialist, and that'll round out our Power Resources team for the foreseeable future. And probably our legislative team as well. Okay, 20 briefings have been completed in the past year, and there's only 2 left. Millbrae and Woodside, both will be in January. And then the plan will be that I probably won't visit your councils for probably another 1.5 couple years. But Mark and others will come, in the interim, just to provide updates as needed. But I have to say, it's really been a delight to come to all of your cities in the county and let you know all the good news about what's going on. That picture makes me laugh because those chairs are empty, and I'm very hopeful that it was more interesting than that. So it's been great, and all this stuff. So upcoming meetings, last thing to say, right now, there's nothing on the agenda for the December 9th Executive Committee. And in conference with Chair Colson, our feeling is if there's nothing pressing, we won't ask you to come. So we'll tentatively cancel it and then follow up in the coming days to be formal about it. But right now, plan for that. And that will wrap up.
All right. I want to go ahead and see if there are any members of the public that want to comment on items 7 or 8. Or CEO report.
No, we'll comment online.
Thank you very much, Brianna. We move on to item number 9, CAQ report. We have one here.
Maybe. I know they met.
Okay, so we have no one here from the CAC.
I don't see Jason Mendelson online.
Okay. So no one here from the CHC, so we will not receive a report. Item number 10, approval of an updated energy risk policy replacing current policies 7 and 15. This is an action item. And this is our one big action item, and we'll turn it over to
Nick.
And
Kelly.
Yeah, I'm just gonna set the stage and then hand it over to my colleague Kelly. First of all, I'll introduce Kelly, Lou Quintal, who joined us 6 months ago, as our risk manager, our first ever risk manager. We've been managing risk, we just haven't had a position. Kelly comes with over 20 years of energy risk experience. She was most recently at the city of Anaheim for 3 years. Before that, almost 15 years at SoCal Edison, or that SoCal Gas. So a lot of great experience, really foremost expert in this area. I think we are on, I wouldn't say the cutting edge, but the leading edge in this area. A lot of our peers are just now starting to build out their energy risk practice, and we're thrilled to have her here. So she's brought a lot of expertise and know-how to this. She's been focusing the first 6 months largely on getting this policy together, which we're going to present for approval right now. Just to set the stage, as I mentioned, we have been managing energy risks. What we're doing here is really just cleaning up, formalizing, and documenting a lot of the practices that we've already been doing. We are adding what we think is sort of best-in-class governance structure, additional controls that we think are going to really serve us well. And so I'll have Kelly walk us through the presentation. We did present this to the executive committee 2 weeks ago and had a really good conversation. We incorporated some comments and feedback from that here. I will ask, unless there's some burning question, to maybe hold questions till the end, just because I think we'll probably, hopefully knock on wood, answer a lot of your questions. Doesn't mean we don't want questions. It's only about a 7-page presentation, but with that, I'll hand it over to Kelly. We can give you that pleasure.
Good evening, everybody. Start off, just wanted to briefly talk about energy risk. I know a lot of time when we think about energy risk, we primarily think about the big one, the market risk related to prices. Usually that's related to supply and demand and weather events and transmission of that. And then we have a few other risks that people normally don't talk about, but they're there and they're being managed. One is counterparty risk. So potential loss due to counterparty's failure to meet contractual obligations, for example, non-delivery or non-performance, non-payment or bankruptcy of a counterparty. Another one is concentration risk. So that's the risk of having, small pool of counterparties that we deal with. And there's a risk that they might not be able to meet their obligations. And then as a result, we might not be able to supply to our customers or may not be able to meet our regulatory requirements. Another one that we see is operational risk, and that's weaknesses in internal processes or systems that could potentially lead to overpayment, underpayment, or just erroneous payment. And those are examples of human error, cyber issues, or technology issues. Another one that we try to manage is the liquidity risk. So that's a failure of the counterparty, either making a payment or complying with collateral requirements. They usually affect contract performance and may become a cash flow issue and potentially a sign of counterparty distress, which may lead to bigger issues down the road. Another one is regulatory risk. Those are changes to regulations that could impact what and how products need to be procured, what type of resources can be counted as renewable resources. So those examples are changes in market structure, customer base, or potential stranded costs. And then the last one up on the slide is volumetric risk. So that's either over or under procurement of energy. This is a big one that PCE faces because all of our procurement is on intermittent renewable resources. So there's a lot of risk since we're focused on, primarily solar and wind resources. So developing a formal energy risk policy will help mitigate all of these energy risks that we face. So just for background, the energy procurement function has risks inherently, And as PCE's portfolio has gotten larger and there's been an increase of transactions, there's just been more risk. And so we're trying to put this formal energy risk policy together to help manage and monitor those risks. Currently, they're being managed informally. The current delegations are that the board is approving transactions with terms greater than 5 years. So those are typically the PPAs that you see coming for your approval. And then the CEO is delegated authority to approve transaction with terms 5 years or less, and those are through informal meetings with senior staff. And then as part of that informal meeting, there's also ad hoc reporting that is used to provide the data to make those decisions. So having a formal energy risk policy will help strengthen internal controls and create a more structured framework to manage and monitor energy risks. And so this energy risk program is basically formalizing what we're currently doing and documenting current practices. Sure.
Just briefly, you all may recall that probably 4 months ago, we did something similar with the board and committee operating procedures where we upgraded policies, I think it was 14, 16 in this case. This is a different topic, but analogous to that effort. So just to kind of frame it out for you that we're planning to replace policy 7 and 15, bring it all under one umbrella, if you will, and then elevate sort of many of the practices. So I think it's just a good mindset to have. This is the same type of deal here. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Kelly.
So with the energy risk policy, it's an improved formal governance structure by creating this risk oversight committee. The board will continue to approve transaction with terms greater than 5 years and material contract amendments. So those are existing authorities that the board will maintain. And then under this new governance, the board will delegate approval of transaction with terms 5 years or less to this risk oversight committee. The ROC will approve and delegate transactions with volume and price range authorizations, and those will be based on annual procurement targets and current market conditions at that time they're seeking approval. The authorizations and limits were developed based on benchmarking and best practices. And then on the next slide will be a comparison that we've done with other CCAs. The board will be provided updates on energy risk management activities at least every 2 years. And then as Nick mentioned, this policy was reviewed with the executive committee and recommended for board approval. So this table outlines some of the other CCAs and their risk structure. So with what we're proposing at PCE, it's pretty much in line with some of the other CCAs. PCE is delegating authority to the ROC, which includes the CEO, and there'll be another slide which talks about the ROC structure. Having this ROC structure provides more representation when reviewing and approving energy procurement activities. And having a ROC review and approve energy procurement activities is typically what we see as best practice in the energy industry. If you notice in the table, we're proposing just volume limits in the authorization, and that's primarily due to the high volatility of the energy market. So having dollar limits in the policy doesn't make any sense. It's going to probably cause a lot of exceptions, which I typically seen in the past. And in order for that to stay current, we'd be constantly having to update those dollar limits in order to reflect current market conditions. And on the governance structure, so this structure provides a more formal structure of reviewing positions and potential transactions to mitigate and manage risks. And the ROC will establish processes, parameters, limits, and authorizations. The ROC will meet at least quarterly to review and approve energy procurement activities. And this includes reporting a forecast, market outlook, net open positions, and potential purchases and sales. Currently, this is being done through informal meetings with the CEO and staff. So this structure is just formalizing and providing a more rigid structure around that framework. Establishing the ROC as a structure best in class and provides a mechanism to review and provide feedback on the supply portfolio with senior management and staff. And the ROC can also delegate items to the board as needed if they see something that's come for their approval and they believe that, this is something that the board should review. They have the option to also do that. So on the ROC will be the CEO, CFO, COO, and Senior Director of Power Resources as voting members, and then the designated General Counsel will be a non-voting member. So under the ROC procedures, there'll be different parameters to help manage and report risks. There'll be a legal review of contracts. We'll list out approved platforms, contracts, delivery points, and product types. We'll also review a procurement plan and forward strategy sheet, which will provide a 5-year outlook and a quarter ahead outlook, including net open positions, procurement plans for purchases and sales, which would include a volume and price range for approvals. There'll also be reporting and monitoring of procurement limits, concentration limits, transaction limits, and counterparty credit and collateral. So as part of the implementation, this energy risk policy will replace current policies 7 and 15. The existing policy 7 risk management policy has provisions of management of energy risks, but there's not a lot of details and it's hasn't been updated since 2020. Currently, that policy only covers CAISO transactions. So under this new risk policy, it will be all encompassing to what is currently being transacted, including RA, environmental attributes, and GHG-free energy. Policy 7 also created this Enterprise Risk Management Committee that I'm not sure if they've actually met. So this energy risk policy will be replacing that committee with the ROC. And under policy 15, Energy Supply Procurement Authority, there's authorizations for energy procurement, but there's not a lot of details and could benefit from a lot of clarity. So currently there's going to be no change to the board authority. The board will continue to approve transaction with terms greater than 5 years. And the CEO's authority will be reallocated to the ROC for terms of 5 years or less. Here is a table of the authorizations in the ERP. So there'll be authorizations for the ROC, the CEO, Senior Director of Power Resources, and authorized traders, which would be outlined in our ROC procedures. So the recommendation is to approve the energy risk policy, replacing existing policy 7 and 15, including delegation to the newly formed Risk Oversight Committee to implement the ERP and oversee energy procurement risks. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Kelly. Does anyone have questions for Kelly or Sean or Kelly or anything? Yes, okay, we'll start with Tiger. Or Director Biggs.
Get the last little bits out of my last.
Please.
Just general technical questions. First of all, general counsel, non-voting member and attendance is optional. I'm wondering why that's the nature of general counsel's involvement.
So typically, at least with PCE, our general counsel isn't deeply involved in all the energy procurement activities, but we want at least some sort of legal representation. So we've made them as optional, but they intend on attending each of the meetings.
Okay. And then follow-up question, there's a bit about votes being taken by email. That clearly creates a paper trail. I'm wondering if there's records kept of the votes that are taken in person.
Yeah, so the in-person meeting, there'll be minutes at each of the meetings where we'll document what was discussed and the votes.
Okay. And then my final question,
And just to be, maybe obvious, the email purpose is there may be times when we've got to transact quickly and can't wait for the quarterly meeting. So that was, we don't hope to use that too often, but it's a flexibility.
I think while I was reading it, what just by association triggered in my head is how we normally conduct a meeting. And it occurred to me, well, no, that's not how this possibly could go. And so I just wanted that a little finer articulated for my understanding. And the last, again, very minor technical question, but it occurred to me probably because we generally don't need to see these, but I was struck that there are very small procurement contracts, 1 or 2 years. I was just wondering in general how many of those there are, because we see the big ones, but because it seems so short.
Do you know, Roy might be on, there's quite a few because there's a lot of RA transactions that are short-term in nature. We have hedge transactions. So the big ones that you all get are the ones that clearly are the longest and the most expensive. And those are our big renewable contracts, but a lot goes on in the short-term market. I don't know, Roy, are you on the line?
Oh, sorry, before we bring in Joy, Jen has her hand raised.
Okay, very good.
This is not in response to this particular question, but just going back to Director Big Stick's comment about general counsel not being a non-voting member. We want to position ourselves to be able to offer advice in the most robust way we can. So positioning ourselves is a little contrary to that. So we'll be there to advise and certainly elevate anything that needs to be elevated to the board.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Moya, I think Roy had a comment. Moya may be on to give some quantity answers.
Yeah, there are quite a few short-term transactions that come up. It is mostly the RA. We also see hedging deals that are kind of, for 1 month, 3 months, 6 months at a time. They're always a very small portion of our portfolio, so they might be just a couple of %. And they tend to be things that are quite time sensitive, and we have to, make a decision quickly about what to do. So that's where the internal sort of communication comes in, and the preparation and the formal communication of what's going to be bought and when. And then I'll add that all of those short-term contracts, they get reported to the board once a quarter. So you guys have visibility of those, even though you're not directly approving them.
And I think to answer your question, I think there, and Moya, please correct me if I'm wrong, there are the few big ones, the long-term you see. There's a lot of 1 month, couple days, maybe a few months transactions. There aren't as many, I think, in the between 1 and 5 years. It's kind of a awkward time period. You're not going to enter into most of these contracts are long-term and multiple, 20-year contracts. So I don't think there are a ton in that 2, 3, 4 year contracts, right, Moya?
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I wish I'd had the time to be more studious in terms of the supplementals. So my focus always went to the long-term contracts I was voting on. And that's interesting to me since I hadn't been aware of how many of those short-term contracts go through on a regular basis. And so thank you, I appreciate it.
This is Roy. I would just add, there is a quarterly report. Actually, there is a report in this month's package that lists all the short-term transactions that was done over the past 3 months since the last report. So I don't recall exactly, but it's typically about 20 to 30 transactions that we list depending on the quarter. And they consist of resource adequacy transactions, attribute transactions, and hedging transactions.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Yeah, and Director McHugh?
Yeah, thank you. That was great. When I worked for a big traditional utility, we looked at risks, and there were a lot of small risks, but there were 2 big ones. The 2 big ones were the cost of fuel, which was kind of not a factor here. But the other big risk was actually weather. And in terms of just the demand, that probably mostly fits in volumetric risk, I think, in this framework, but it could actually impact a couple of other aspects of this. Where does the weather fall in this framework?
Yeah. I think it falls into volumetric risk. I think it also plays into market risk. If there's a heat wave, it's gonna drive up prices, and that's what Roy's team's gonna see that in their prices if they go out to purchase energy. And it also might affect counterparties too. If counterparties are kind of betting on the other side of that, we may see some potential issues with counterparties delivering on their options if there's a big swing in weather conditions which affects prices.
Okay, thanks.
Director McCune, I don't think you were on the board when we had the weather spikes and we had to go into the spot market and cover gaps in supply and demand. And that was the first time, this was well before Sean and all this team was in place. And we all of a sudden looked at financials, and through the financials, we could see the risk, we could see what was going on. There was this huge spike in cost. So when we got into it a little more, we began to understand that there was no hedging, no nothing on any of this. So that's when we began to say, hey, having these open contracts with potential for volatility, with weather spikes or any other kind of natural disaster. That was the sort of initial impetus for risk management. And this is like risk management 2.0, getting a little more sophisticated with the dynamic, a little more dynamic model. But you're right on it. That's exactly how we figured out what we needed.
Them hedging,
Yeah.
then we took that to heart.
Yeah. Okay, yes, Director Wright.
Thank you. Just maybe a clarifying question about how often the board might receive a report. I saw the note about a minimum of about every 2 years, but and I think I saw some other language. So fair to say if there's a breach or significant movement within this policy that the board would get an item on an ad hoc basis.
Yeah, at least a minimum every 2 years, but if there's something that, if there was a breach in the policy or something, we think that needs the board's attention, we'll, bring it up sooner.
And if we ever have any changes to the policy, obviously we'd have to come back to the board for approval.
Thank you. And I was just struck a little bit by the 4-member structure of the voting members. I saw a note that the risk manager can be a tiebreaker, and I was just curious a little as to why not have the risk manager be a voting member and make 5. Is it maybe because of all the other sort of coordinating of the meetings and the agenda and so forth that the risk manager has as part of duties? And is it maybe something like separation of duties, almost like managing risk within that, or?
Yeah, usually what I've seen in the risk committees is that risk manager is usually like the secretary of the committee, so they're managing, the minutes and taking the votes. The other thing too is I report up to Nick, and Nick is also on the committee. So we didn't want to have, almost 2 people under the same reporting structure have votes, because that kind of might skew the votes. So that's why we pulled the risk manager out as a tiebreaker, so that everyone kind of has their own line of reporting.
Thank you.
Director.
This is just a nitpicky nomenclature issue, but Roy is listed as Senior Director of Power Resources, but he's on your website or I know him as Director of Power Resources. So is there a reason? Okay, so he is the director.
It's the same guy.
Yeah, okay. Director, you're the top dog. Okay. And then Roy, whenever you have a chance, one of these days, you need to tell me why it is that we are engaged in sale of RA and we purchase our hedge. So we can talk about that later. It seems counterintuitive here that we're doing sales of RA.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we can take that offline. We can share with you our RA sales strategy, and there's also sale on the hedge side as well. So we can talk about that as well.
Yeah. All right. Thanks. And thanks for the report in the
Any other questions? I'll go ahead and open it up to members of the public. Are there any members of the public with questions or comments?
No public comment online.
Okay,
No public comment in the
with
room.
that. And if there are any concluding remarks or anything, and if not, I believe we need a vote to approve the updated energy list. Thank you very much. I'll sort of yield the floor to anyone else who's might be. Okay. You. That's appropriate. So we have this motion, big stick, we have a, second by Director Pine. Can we please have a roll call vote?
Yes. San Mateo County,
Yes.
San Mateo County. Atherton,
Yes.
Belmont,
Yeah.
Brisbane. Burlingame. Yes. Colma,
Yes.
Daly City,
Yes.
East Palo Alto,
Yes.
Foster City,
Yeah.
Half Moon Bay,
Yes.
Hillsborough. Los Baños,
Yes.
Menlo Park,
Yes.
Millbrae,
Aye.
Pacifica,
Aye.
Portola Valley,
Yes.
Redwood City,
Yes.
San Bruno,
Yes.
San Carlos,
Yes.
San Mateo,
Yes.
South San Francisco, Woodside. The motion passes.
Very much. Right, moving on to item number 11. Highlight of our evening, acknowledgement and appreciation of our outgoing board members. It's a discussion item. So as many of you know, we're wrapping up the end of the year, and being that it's not an even year, there's a lot of change going on. Retirements, people moving on to other things, and we want to take a moment and recognize some very special people in this room. PCE is fortunate to have so many talented and devoted people who make our organization great. We are privileged to be led by outstanding board members who work together to serve the public and our ratepayers. As we all know, this was one of the first entities where every single elected official in the county voted to support this. So from its origination days, it had immense support, and we've continued to enjoy that. Through our work together, Peninsula Clean Energy has become a recognized leader and an innovator in addressing climate change, energy affordability, and clean energy solutions, not only in the state of California, but nationally. Tonight, unfortunately, we have 7 board members that we are going to be saying goodbye to. Dave Pine, Jeff Alves, Tiger Jazz Big Stick, Harvey Rohrbach, Ned Fluent, Sam Hindi, and Paul Yanes. It has been a delight to work with each of you over the years as a colleague on this board, and we would like to recognize your valuable service. For this segment of the meeting, what I'd like to do is say a few words about each outgoing board member, and they will each receive a very beautiful commemorative plaque, a crystal plaque. And then I would like to invite them to say a few words, and then any of the board members that might want to say a thing or two may please have an opportunity. And I think the best way to maybe handle this is just to let each candidate say a few words, and then at the end we can all sort of pile on and recognize our friends. Yes, I have a question from Nellie.
Oh, Nellie just wanted to give a comment at the end.
Oh, she wants to give a comment. Oh, okay, Nellie, get your hand up now. Yeah. So the first person that we're going to recognize, unfortunately, could not make it this evening. It's Ned Fluent. So. Yeah. Ned joined our board this year, and he represents the city of Woodside. And so, Ned, in acknowledging your service on this board, we are going to present him with this beautiful plaque and then the crystal, right?
Yeah,
One of each.
we will deliver that to him.
And we will get that to him. Another one of my favorite board members that's come on in the last year is our Los Baños board member for the last 2 years, Mayor Paul Yanes. It has been my great pleasure to go to Los Baños with Sean to work and meet with Paul in person. And Paul has really become a very strong voice of support for CCAs and for Peninsula Clean Energy in the Los Baños community and in the Central Valley, which is a place that typically hasn't had and enjoyed as much of this work. We very much appreciate Paul's participations, his contributions to our 2023 surplus funds and ad hoc committee on which he served. And I hope, Paul, that the legacy, one of the really strong and amazing legacies you will leave in Los Banos is the legacy of the pool and the other work that you've done to bring electrification and solar. I think you were amazing. So in recognition of your 2 years of service on the board for 23 and 24, we would like to present you with this plaque and ask you if you would like to have any comments this evening.
Sure. Well, thank you. Number one is I'm sorry in the 2 years I sat on this board, I wasn't able to, I was just wasn't able to join you guys. Thank you for that. The other thing too is I want to thank the rest of the board and the staff for making Los Banos and definitely making me feel like part of the team, even though I'm in a different county and under different circumstances. I really appreciate that, you know, when you guys talked about my city, you spoke like it was your city, and I really appreciated that. So thank you for the last 2 years. I really appreciate it. I know this organization is going to continue to do great work. I'm kind of, I don't want to say off to bigger and better things, but I'm off to bigger and different things. So I'm now my organization, my private organization, we're now in charge of workplace violence for the California Department of Industrial Relations. So now I oversee that on a statewide level. So that'll be a new chapter for me. So, but again, thank you. And thank you for the last 2 years.
You are most welcome.
Mayor, we'll just let you know that Mark Hirschman intends to attend your meeting on December 4th. Third? Fourth, and he will bring your plaque down to Los Banos when he goes, okay?
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Great. Also leaving our board this year is Tiger Bigstick. Tiger has been a champion for clean energy and a thoughtful, active representative for Pacifica at PCE. He also has served on last year's surplus funds committee. And I think all of us are going to miss Tiger's inquisitive and thoughtful questions that really show how much you read the materials, how hard you look and work and try to understand and learn about this, and sort of the passion and your willingness to do what in your heart you know is right for you and for Pacifica, regardless of how the rest of us vote. And I really want to honor that and thank you for your independence and the sort of fresh perspective and inquisitive nature that you've always brought to this board, which has been a real pleasure.
Thank you.
Please.
Yeah, I think there's something a little bit intimidating and humbling about being a part of a board that deals with matters so complex and nuanced. To be included with the ridiculous amount of brain power on this board. It's been my honor, and trying to learn the business to the best of my ability in short order and try to contribute anything in any way helpful has been my challenge over the last 4 years. And to some of your comments point, in my experience, sometimes the best thing one can offer is to merely ask some genuine questions. Because sometimes it's almost like stirring up muddy water and something emerges that wasn't necessarily seen before. And so if I can offer nothing more than a question, perhaps even that could be helpful. Past that, as I said, the brain power here is extraordinary, but it's matched by the power of the heart that is brought to this board. The mission is one of not merely supplying what we need as a society to be functional as we are, but to do so in a manner that hopefully ultimately is contributing to the betterment of a planet and to innovate strategies to do so accordingly. So I'm deeply grateful to have been able to offer whatever I could to this of many hearts of our county and counties beyond.
Thank you, Tiger. Next, after 9 years as a member of the Foster City Council, Sam Hindi is also leaving our board. Sam has been a strong advocate for a sustainable future and an important contributor to our board. And I really want to call out specifically, Sam, your work with me on the DEA. Putting together 4 very disparate people and sitting everybody down and having so many voices to be heard, and you always represented people who, the underdog, the person who, the family, the person, the business that might not have been thought about, the perspective that someone else didn't have, and your sort of great heart and compassion for people, and always wanting to make sure that that policy was not something that we were dictating, but something that was emerging from the real needs of the community. I'm just so grateful that you served on that with me, and I got to know you as a person and a friend. And I'm sure everyone else feels the same way. Without your leadership on that, it would not have been the policy, the amazing policy we have today. So thank you very much. And
Thank you, Donna, for your kind words. Really humbling to be part of this board. And Tiger spoke very eloquently about the brain power and the knowledge. And but it's really been my honor and privilege to be part of this board and serve alongside each one of you. This has been a huge learning experience for me, and I'm glad to have shared a little bit. And really, it was wonderful experience to work with you, with Rod, and the others, and staff, because we can't forget staff. They make our life easier, make our job look so much easier. And it's not just on the subcommittee and on that project, but also really it's amazing what staff does in the report, the wealth of knowledge, the conciseness of the report, and the information needed for all of us to make those decisions. Because they're never easy decisions, right? But at least we are provided with the proper information so we could thoughtfully come to those decisions. So for me, I'm really grateful to have been part of this board, and I'm honored again to know each and every single one of you. And that would go one of those, it's really one of those boards. All my boards are special, but this one is super special. So, thank you for the opportunity to work with all of you.
next, we have Harvey Rohrbach. He has Harvey. With the best suspenders that anyone's ever worn. Ever. Harvey, thank you. You have served Peninsula Clean Energy and the city of Half Moon Bay with steadfast dedication and a deep commitment to the organization since our inception. You joined the board of directors in 2017, and prior to that, you were a member of PCE's Community Advisory Committee. You're the first person to migrate from there to here. I think we have more coming. I think you've done a wonderful job representing a complicated community on the coast that has a lot of very special needs. And you've always done it with intelligence and thoughtfulness and graciousness. Your comments are always so astute and thoughtful. You're a man of few words. You're like the introverted me, a lot of words, maybe not so much. You're like few words, but very impactful. So I just want to recognize that, Harvey, and thank you. And we are really going to miss you.
I'm gonna miss you too, believe me. When I joined the CAC in 2016, being pushed by Dave Pine, who really should get more credit for what's happened. We didn't have a name, so one of the things we did was we came up with PCE. As has been said, the brain power, the compassion, the concern for the environment in this group is amazing. Okay, and I also sit on many boards, and by far, this one has impressed me with what really can be done to help the environment, to help the community. So I'm really been proud to be here. I'm gonna miss you all. I wish I could stay on, but you know, that's democracy. So thank you, Donna. Thank you, board. It's been a pleasure.
I do want to say that today it was a bit poignant because I signed contracts for 2 projects in Half Moon Bay under our GovPV2
Oh,
program.
great.
So just to know that happened today, and I thought of you, and
Okay.
And we'll
Yeah.
look forward to you on the public comment area. Oh, stay. Thank you very
Sure.
much. Another one of our very long time people, I can see things are getting longer and longer here. Jeff Huffs, Portola Valley. One of our 2 founding PCE board members departing Safe Clean Energy after 9 years of dedicated service. He's also stepping down from the Portola Valley Town Council after 13 years. Jeff has been a part of the fabric of PCE since PCE's earliest days, supporting the agency's formation, growth, and development, and rarely missing a meeting. Jeff was our 2nd board chair after Supervisor Klein, and has served on our executive committee, I believe, since inception, providing guidance and sharing his wealth of energy experience and wisdom. Jeff also led the way for Portola Valley to become the first city in California to opt up all of its municipal, residential, and business accounts to a voluntary 100% renewable product. Portola Valley's leadership in this regard paved the way for several others, towns and cities in the state to follow suit in the years after PCE's launch. Jeff, for me, I mean, you have just really been a mentor. I feel like I need to always ask you, a gigawatt again, a megawatt, tell me. Your fundamental knowledge of this industry and your background in it and your thoughtful commentary about the policy we're making and the intersection between the reality of the business world has been your ability to synthesize that and share it out with the rest of us in a way that we can all understand has been policy advancing, policy changing, and allowed us to run an organization in a way that like a real business would be run. Before we especially had all of our staff, we really were depending on you and others, you know, in the original board, and you almost were acting like our staff, really helping us advance the ball. It's been just a pleasure to serve with you, and I want to thank you for all your service and turn the mic over to you.
Well, thank you for the kind words. It's next month, it'll be 10 years since I first learned about community choice aggregation. And I remember it was at the Italian restaurant on Main Street in Redwood City, Council of Cities. I've been mayor for about 5 days. And I think Dave pulled that meeting together, and the presenter was Sean Marshall of Lean Energy, telling us about CCA and what it has done in Marin and what it was now. At that point, Sonoma Clean Power was the second one to launch and was on its feet and going well, and we were about to follow suit. And I actually turned to Carol Groom, who was sitting at the table next to me, was one of the first board members, and I knew this was something I wanted to get involved with, and so I turned to her. I said, "How can I get involved with this?" And she kind of explained the basics to me, and I didn't know I'd get this involved with it. At some point I just decided that I put my hands on whatever people would let me touch in the organization. So I've done what I could over the years. It's been a lot of fun. I'm looking at like sort of, I mean, I think, you know, several people that I've worked with for several years are here from staff, and I really appreciate you being here. It's a fraction of the staff we actually have now. And I can remember when there were 4 staff and we would meet in the Office of Sustainability. We'd be walking through the county center trying to find whatever meeting room we booked, because we were literally bouncing from meeting room to meeting room to help interview power suppliers or whatever little tasks we were doing. I was part of the committee that hired Jan, but I also remember working with Jim Eggmeyer when he was the sort of de facto CEO of the organization. to go from that to what we have here now, and to be talking about a risk management policy, I mean, it's been a startup and it's turned into a really mature company. It's kind of amazing to have been able to have a front row seat for all of that. I said this before, my small contribution to Peninsula Clean Energy far outweighs all the work I've done professionally in terms of making the world a better place for my children and their children. And I'm fine, and that's as it should be. Just the work this organization has done, and CCAs across California and the country have done, both just to do what they're doing, but also just to show that government can be a really effective mechanism for important changes to our society and to our planet. It's really been the work of a lifetime for me in a lot of ways. And so this board has been really, really great to work with. Everyone that I've worked with over the past 9 years as a board member now. So thank you all. And I sort of, I'm not going anywhere. I'll probably be around for, some meetings and things. So but I walk away from this just knowing that this organization is really, knowing this organization is going to outlive me, and it's not going to be here for a long time after I'm gone. So, so to all of the people that made that possible, including everyone in this room, thank you.
Yeah. Oh, Donna, do we comment? Oh, okay. Yes, oh, yes, please. Michael, you want, no, you're not, hang on, just hang on. So, we have one last very special person to recognize tonight. My neighbor, my dear friend, PCE founder and county supervisor, Dave Putt, is leaving PCE's board after 9 years of dedication and outstanding service. In truth, none of us would be in this room without him.
True.
Supervisor Pine was PCE's first board chair, and he was pivotal in the effort to bring CCA to San Mateo County. His legacy of unanimous support for PCE's formation at the County Board of Supervisors and across all of San Mateo County's 20 cities has never been matched in the rest of our state. It's true. Through his and Supervisor Groom's leadership and with the support of then County Office of Sustainability, all 20 cities in the county collaborated to form Peninsula Clean Energy, providing residents and businesses with cleaner energy at lower rates. To date, as a testament to Dave's vision and leadership, PCE is approaching nearly 200 million in customer rate savings and over 94% carbon emissions reduction in our service territory. In addition to serving as board chair during PCE's startup days, Dave has also served on PCE's executive committee since the agency's inception. There's a few more things, but I'm just going to break it up for a second here and say, Dave, so we are also lucky to be able to be on your coattails. And I mean that from, the first day, like for me personally, the first day I met you when you knocked on my door when you were running for the Burlingame School District, to every single journey that you have pulled all of us along on, not just here at Peninsula Clean Energy, but in One Shoreline and in all kinds of environmental and having like the most incredible vision and ability to foresee what will be impactful and meaningful. And then not just to do it, to see it, but to actually be able to do it. That is such a unique characteristic and trait in an elected official. It's unique in a person. In an elected official in the world in which we operate today with so many different pushing and pullings, it is like absolutely beyond special. And I know on behalf of everyone here, and I'm sure they're all going to say it, to be within your aura and the work you do, it's just life-changing for many of us. And I'm kind of getting upset because I'm really gonna miss you, because you're my friend, you're my neighbor, you know, the whole thing. So in recognition of his decade of leadership and innovation in support of our county, PCE and local clean energy, and his continued legacy into our future, PCE's executive committee has directed the staff to create the Supervisor Dave Pine Community Energy Award. This award and a modest grant will be given annually to a community-based organization in San Mateo County doing work consistent with PCE's mission through a competitive grant application process. And if you wish, Supervisor, we will honor and be honored to have you participate, you know, as you want throughout the years in the selection and annual award process. So it's a way that we hope we can keep you connected to our organization and the work we're doing. So Dave, in recognition of your critical leadership for PCE, and even came to be, your vision for it and your ongoing service on the board and executive committee, we extend our deepest gratitude. And we would like to present you with the plaque and also this crystal, and then turn the floor over to you. Thank you, Marty.
Sure. I was gonna say, we wouldn't, I heard it already, we wouldn't be here without you. That's just, you're saying that over and over.
Well, thank you, Donna. Thank you, everyone, for the recognition. It's really been an amazing journey. When I first heard about CCAs and about the success in Marin and Sonoma, you know, one day the light bulb went off, you know, why not San Mateo County? And the help of many others, Jeff, Gerald Boone, and others, you know, we, with the match, it began an amazing journey and an amazing, and birthed an amazing organization. And like Jeff, I remember following those early days when it's just a table in the Office of Sustainability. And never in my wildest dreams would I have imagined that the PC would have grown and thrived to the extent that it has. I've been really fortunate as a board of supervisor member to work on such a wide variety of issues. But when I look back in my service, I'm really, I think, most proud of my opportunity to contribute to Peninsula Clean Energy. And just, you know, it's just so impressed with what we have collectively accomplished. And we really have changed the world. And it's very grateful for the experience. Thank you.
Open the floor to anyone here who might like to say a thing or two. Kaya, over there. I know it's emotional, right? Like this is you put your heart and soul into this. And also to members of the public who may want to say something. Nellie, would you like to take us on?
Sorry to jump in. I really appreciate it. This is little Lily and she needs to go to bed. I just wanted to take a minute and just express my gratitude for our outgoing board members. It has been a pleasure working with you the last few years. I, as a person who lives in our service territory, am just so honored and feel so lucky to work for a company, but to work with people who started this organization, who keep it going for myself, for the community, for new little members of the community. So thank you to all. Best wishes in the future. I wish I could be there in person. I will be back soon. But just wanted to jump in and say thank you and farewell and good luck.
Thank you, Nellie. Anyone in the room? that might want to, yes, I see, right.
I just want to say thank you to all the directors that I was able to serve on. You know, I'm part of that legacy, and I think one thing that I just stand out, and Jeff, I just want to say thank you for being that leader during like COVID-19. That was rough. And I know we were all at home, we were all video on Zoom, and it like clean energy wasn't even in my thought of my head. But we were still all dedicated. We all stayed till our long night meetings, and we're here. And to see this organization grow and to learn from all of y'all, and then take this type of skills and bring it back to my city is something that I really cherish and I really appreciate. So I just want to say thank you to everyone and for your leadership and mentorship.
So just looking around at everybody who's leaving, I want to say there's obviously emotion, but I also feel a tremendous weight, and that's because of the legacy that you all leave behind. I think of how thoughtful, the integrity, just you look around at all of you, the work product that you do. This room is going to be different without all of you. And I think everyone sitting in it and thinking about you not being here. I know myself, I just think, oh my gosh, the amount of work it will take to make up for you not being here. We're watching you. And the legacy that you provide that everyone needs to live up to, you're gonna be incredibly missed. And Dave, that goes not just for here, but everywhere. Like the work that you do at the board, the work that you've done, it's just unbelievable to think about the impact and innovation that you brought to the county. And specifically here, it's incredible. It's legendary. It's not just a legacy, it's legendary.
Thank you. I'll be brief. I do just want to echo thanks to everybody who was part of this board and is unfortunately departing us tonight. Years and years and years of service are departing tonight, and I am certainly grateful for the work that has brought Peninsula Clean Energy, your work that has gotten us to where we are today, and with a bright horizon for tomorrow. You know, some have already remarked that with regard to Supervisor Pine, we wouldn't be here without him, for sure. And for sure, I wouldn't even be in elected office if not for Dave Pine. Like, just being a great example of, as I think Jeff was mentioning, the idea of government making a positive difference in our lives. It can get hectic, as Donna mentioned. You know, sometimes we feel we don't know who we can trust or turn to, and so that's it's you know, in tougher times where champions like Dave Pine, and really, of course, probably everybody in this room, are important for those of us who, you know, maybe aren't at the elected level, but are reading the paper and trying to figure out, you know, how can I make a difference? How can I help out? There are people out there like Dave who are modeling the way and are being a beacon for others who are worried about climate change and what we can do about it. So I just want to thank you, especially Supervisor Pine, but you know, everybody here is representing a standard like that for your cities and towns, here and elsewhere, no doubt. So thank you all very much for your service.
Thank you.
Well, I'm sorry I wasn't on this board sooner because just amazing people. And I want to set the record straight. Dave comes from Redwood City. He started Planning Commission, and we donated him to trumps everything. But Supervisor Pine, me personally, I remember in 2013 just being a person and so worried about climate change. And you were elected, you were new, I can't remember how new, but you convened this meeting at College of San Mateo. And we all came and we just filled up the auditorium and everybody was there and we didn't know what we were gonna do or why or how, but you organized this all-day seminar and it just gave me in particular hope. Then that was just the beginning of a lot of leadership, and so, thank you.
I unfortunately, my wife is in Yosemite
Yeah,
and
go on,
I have to go,
yes.
I have to pick my daughter up from her practice because no one else is there to do it. But I did want to say to everyone, we are going to be having a celebration honoring Dave and honoring Warren, and I hope everyone will come that evening and be there with him and his family, give him the send off that he needs and deserves.
Date December the 12th. Yes.
We maybe have a photo. Okay.
Sorry. Get you. Yeah, we'll get a photo. And yes, we saw more, right?
I think, anybody else, like our staff is you?
Staff has a few too, please. Yes.
Sad to see folks go, Dave in particular. Remember sitting more or less and right there when I looked over Dave's shoulder and looked at the, I guess it was a pro forma of what we thought this organization was going to be like in 10 years. And looked at him and said, Dave, that would be amazing. He said, yeah, well, that's going to happen. And here we are with almost $400 million in the bank. And a really cracked staff of 53 people. I think the last time it was 52 people. 61 now. Oh my God. And
Don't worry, that's it for a while.
I know we're losing a lot of great folks who have a lot of institutional knowledge, but one of the things that PCE has done and both in leadership as well as the board is we have made sure, you all have made sure that we will continue to exist, even though great minds like Dave will not be here. And I think that was deliberate when you set up this system and when you were thinking about this, when was it? 12 years ago, 11 years ago, right? To make this organization sustainable. And so I think this organization is in great hands because of all that work, that seminal work you all did, and Dave in particular. You know, you are indeed a standout supervisor without a doubt, whether it's One Shoreline or this, or your 9-county bond measure around sea level rise. And they're just dozens probably of ideas that came out of Dave's head. So thank you for lending all that knowledge and brilliance to us, and we're gonna carry on and make sure that certainly PCE is here as a shining star that you can always say, I helped start that, or I started that. Thank you.
Well, I just think that you have something very special here when your staff team can say that we are so going to miss all of you. We are really going to miss you. And I know other staff will speak, but on behalf of the PCE team, I want to say, just extend even more gratitude for all of your leadership, for your faith in our ability and our growth over these last 8 years, and just being a steadfast group. You all paved the way and showed newer board members how it's done. And I will say that I'm very hopeful that the new crop that's coming in January and February emulates all of you. So I do want to say a special thank you to Supervisor Pine, who was the first supervisor to hire Lean Energy to help with the startup of PCE, and that became the first of 10 that we did in the state of California. So you made a major difference in my personal and career life. My children, thank you. And and we certainly miss you. So with that, I think there might be, say something.
Me.
Yes, please.
Rafael Reyes, Director of Energy Programs. Want to thank each of the outgoing board member, Tiger Jazz, for helping educate me on rental issues and coastal issues. Same thing, Harvey, coastal issues, been really helpful to get your insights so that I could understand that better and bring that into our work. Jeff, your insights around virtual power plants and building systems have been incredibly valuable. Thank you. And Dave, so not everybody here may know, I originally met Dave now 22 years ago, early in Dave's political engagement, civic life. And one thing that struck me right out of the gate is your incredible genuineness that you bring to thinking about making a contribution in the world. And that impressed me from day one. And I can say, and I think, you know, from the bottom of my heart, and I think that reflects, you know, on the entire team here, our incredible gratitude for your vision in bringing this, making this organization a reality and bringing together this incredible team of leaders that makes it possible. So thank you very much, Dave.
I'll be brief, but thank you so much to all of the council members who have served on this committee and are stepping off. It is such a big lift to serve on a city council and then to serve as a board member in an agency, in a industry which you may have no experience in, which is complicated. And so thank you so much for your steady leadership, which has made it such a pleasure to be on staff, and especially to the board members who were here who helped start PCE. I saw the savvy with which you set up this organization for success. It was a masterclass. So thank you for that, for setting us up for such success and making my job so easy to represent this in the community. And thank you for all the work you have done for, you know, building the community support for the success we're in. I'm so grateful as a resident of this county and as a resident of this planet. Thank you.
I just want to say, for 2 years, I had the privilege of working alongside Dave as the vice chair of this board. I learned a tremendous amount about running an organization, and also I'll echo what others have said, just to meet somebody who's been as effective and as sincere in their desire to do good as you is just really rare. It's been exceptional, and it's been a privilege to work alongside you. Thank you, sir.
Likewise.
You all for being here tonight, for the service. We're looking forward to continuing to engage with you. We will not be let out. We will continue to be with us. At this point, are there any board member reports anyone would like to make? I know Tiger, you probably have one.
I mean, for once I wasn't going, but since you asked. Pacifica reorganization December 9th, everyone's invited. There should be good cake.
Should be good. So then I will go ahead and adjourn the meeting. We will adjourn to eat cake. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, let's get it.